What am I doing? Tetrahedron.
If you've been watching this channel since its inception, you'll probably know that I am a massive Star Fox fanboy. My first experience with the series was Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube back in 2002. Since then, I've played all the games in the series, and personally, I like all of them. Even Star Fox Assault, which is often considered the weakest entry in the franchise.
I thought Command was.
I think it's Assault. I don't know.
Well, that's assaulting, isn't it?
That is assaulting.
It is very assaulting, yes. The series been on hiatus in 2011 after the release of Star Fox 64 3D. However, since that was a remake, the last true original installment was Star Fox Commando back in 2006.
Commando?
Every year, we would watch E3 and hope that the Star Fox team would finally make a return. The series was a frequent entry in our top 10 once at E3 countdowns.
Along with F-Zero, this is one of those franchises that fans desperately want to see return.
The Star Fox series deserves to be given another chance.
Unfortunately, there was nothing in 2012 and nothing in 2013. 2 long, agonizing years of no new Star Fox games.
You were in so much pain.
I was in so much pain. To be honest with you, though, the wait felt so much longer. I felt like I waited years for Star Fox, and it turned out it was only 2 years. Anyway, this must be how the Tetrahedron fans felt when we disappeared in 2015. During this time, Fox McCloud was relegated to television commercials in the UK, where he would dance with British tourists in an airport.
Don't be glum, Cheryl. The holiday starts here.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Oh, I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
At E3 2014, the agonizing wait finally came to an end. At the conclusion of a fantastic showing from Nintendo, Miyamoto appeared playing a game on the Wii U. The screen was so blurry you couldn't make out what it was, or what he was playing. However, if you looked close enough, you knew exactly what it was.
Oh, it's Donkey Kong! Haha, just kidding, it was Star Fox! Yep, it was finally coming, and I was so excited I could have kissed a camel square in the lips. While nothing more was shown at E3, I didn't care. I was just happy it was being made. At next year's E3, Nintendo dedicated the start of their Direct to Star Fox, and I was pumped! Granted, the intro for the game did involve Miyamoto, Iwata, and Reggie turning into Star Fox characters, which was kinda creepy.
Almost like a horror film.
Yeah.
However, after that we got a proper trailer, and to be honest, it looked good. The graphics were nice, the gameplay looked fun. Our only disappointment at the time was that it looked like a retread of Star Fox 64. But at the same time, we didn't care, did we?
No, because
it
it's
was Star Fox!
I'm such a furry. In April 2016, Star Fox Zero was finally released to the public, and I brought it day one. I even left work early that day so I could play it. I didn't even tell them, I just walked out of the building. I said bye, and then I left.
Hold on, you said you didn't tell them, but you said bye. So they knew you were leaving.
I booted up the Wii U, and I finally played an all-new Star Fox. A 12-year wait from Star Fox Command had finally come to a close. So on its initial release, did Star Fox Zero live up to my exceedingly high expectations? Or shall we say, our exceedingly high expectations?
Yes.
Well, to be honest with you, my expectations were so high, I was practically a satellite orbiting the Earth.
What's the Tetrahedron? What's the Tetrahedron? What's the Tetrahedron?
So no, it didn't match my expectations. In many ways, Star Fox Zero is a disappointment. However, did that mean I hated the game when it first came out? The answer is also no. Unlike a lot of other fans, I actually liked Star Fox Zero. I enjoyed playing it, and I had fun. So on the eve of the game's 5-year anniversary, has my opinion changed? Has our opinion changed? Do we still enjoy playing Star Fox Zero? The short answer is yes. Thanks for watching.
Well, tune in next time for the next Tetrahedron video as we're going to delve into the history of Jak and Daxter.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Look forward to it. Cool.
Enjoy that.
Thanks for watching.
Enjoy your Easter eggs.
Enjoy your Easter. Stay safe. Or hope you had a good Easter. Stay safe.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye. Actually, I think we should elaborate a bit more on this.
Yes, okay, so first things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Come, little Moyo. Come on, let's go. Come along. Come, Moyo. This is not a good place for an elephant. Come.
The most divisive element of Star Fox Zero is the controls. Like Marmite, people either love it or hate it. In fact, some people hate the controls so much, they literally can't finish the game. In fact, Arthur Guys from Polygon said the controls made him so miserable, he couldn't actually finish it.
So, he dedicated himself to eating just buckets of fish. That's right, fish heads in a bucket. Now, the controls in Star Fox Zero involves players switching between the television and the gamepad to shoot down enemies. That's right, to shoot down enemies.
Well, what else do you do? I guess you're gonna...
Shoot the 8 switches to open the lock!
According to the trailer, the idea is that the player is supposed to hold up the gamepad to the TV and use it as a second screen. However, many people had issues with switching between the two while playing.
While it appears the game intends for you to play it like this, I play it like this.
But I play it like this.
Yes, Honest Revio's weird. You should see him play a Sonic game. He makes it look like Wii Sports. I rarely look at the second screen. Instead, I use the gamepad purely for gyro aiming.
Or as I like to call it, Spyro aiming.
No. Honestly, gently I thought you were going to your mother's today.
I was, but I decided not to.
Honestly, gently moving the gamepad around to move my targeting reticle proves to be all I need to blast away enemies. Or
Shoot the 8 switches to open the lock!
That's not to say I don't look at the second screen. Like with some of the bosses, that's all I'm doing. Like that bastard Aqua Rosa with the shield and everything. And also, whenever you use Direct Eye, you gotta look at the second screen, otherwise you can't see what you're doing.
There is a few occasions where, we look between both screens in quick succession, but this is normally when, we just miss an enemy or we just don't want them to get away. In the words of Peppy Hair,
Shoot the 8 switches to open the lock!
sorry, that's the wrong clip.
This may not be the dev intended method, but it's worked for us. I mean, I've got all the medals and everything. I mean, honestly, people just quit after you complete the story. He was just like, I'm done.
I'm just a story guy.
I don't like Star Fox very much.
I'm a story guy when it comes to Star Fox.
Anyway, don't get me wrong, the controls do take some getting used to. I remember when I first played the game, I was fumbling all over the place, like Bojo at a press conference.
So that by the time the next election comes, by the time the not the next election, we never know when that will come, but by the time the election for London Mayor comes, we will have a winning manifesto that is based on...
However, once you start developing a rhythm with the controls and you get a setup that works for you, things really start coming together.
I think one of the most overlooked features of Star Fox Zero is how with the second screen, you can actually control the R-Wing during the game's cinematics. For example, you can just shoot Falco during the game's opening cutscene before you enter Corneria.
No way! I didn't know this.
Another example is in Sector B, when the big ship comes and fires the big laser.
Yeah.
Like, when he fires the first laser in the supposed cutscene, you can actually just fly through the hole it creates, like, during the cutscene. And I think it's just, like, such a badass moment. Like, it makes it look like Fox is just, he's just such a pro. He knows what to do immediately. It's just like, oh, big ship, I know what to do, go for the hole. So, anyway, it's not a massive deal, but I think it's a really neat addition that helps with the game's snappy arcade gameplay.
Speaking of, if you can overcome the game's controls, I think you'll be treated to some of the best Star Fox gameplay in the series. From the get-go, Zero is pretty tough.
Oh, you mean Zero from Mega Man? Oh, he sure is.
Yes.
No, we're talking about Star Fox Zero, as in Star Fox Zero. I'm gonna rephrase that, he gets it confused. From the get-go, Star Fox Zero is pretty tough.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Star Fox Zero gets pretty tough.
It's constantly throwing enemies at you, and on most levels, there never really is a dull moment.
I bet like my romantic life, never a dull moment. Insert sarcastic laugh. I replayed Star Fox 64 afterwards, and on the easier levels, I was surprised by how quiet some of the portions were. I mean, if it wasn't for the music, it'd be like a game of snooker.
Your skills have improved!
Just to clarify, I still love Star Fox 64. However, with Star Fox Zero, that intensity is pretty much consistent all the way through, even during the easier levels. And I appreciate that, because, we are in the Lylat Wars, so I expect there to be lots of ships and a lot of blasting.
Yes,
and
emphasize on wars.
Gotta
Shoot the 8 switches to open the lock!
Anyway, Zero, Star Fox Zero, tries to shake things up with the introduction of the Walker, as in Walker, not Christopher Walken. Just walking to blast aliens in space with a fox, which allows Fox to enter ships and blow them up from the inside. A reference to the Walker mode in the cancelled, but eventually released, Star Fox 2.
The Walker does add some variety to the gameplay, and I do appreciate how once you're given access to it, you can freely transform between R-Wing and Walker mode. It certainly helps in the battle against Starwolf at the game's end, that's for sure. Like, all you need to do is stay in Walker mode and they come to you.
The Landmaster also makes a return in a few levels, its biggest showcase being on Titania. Was it Titania? Titania. Titania.
Yes, Titania.
Titania.
Yes, Titania.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? You just zoned out for like 6 minutes. Finally, the Blue Marine from Star Fox 64 has been replaced with the Gyro Wing, which is a helicopter-like vehicle that can drop down a robot to pick up bombs or access switches. Now, remember when I said there wasn't a dull moment?
I lied.
The level on Zonus where you control the Gyro Wing is a tedious slog and slows the whole game down. However, it seems like the developers were aware of this because the Gyro Wing only appears in 2 levels and then it's gone forever.
For the most part, the game runs at a consistent frame rate, slowing down occasionally when a large explosion happens on screen. However, I don't mind that too much, as it almost looks like it's being done deliberately for dramatic effect. A bit like Sonic when he gets hit and loses his rings. It's a dramatic effect. But according to Dexter here, he thinks it's a frame rate issue.
It is a frame rate issue.
I don't think so, because if I recall, it's in Sonic 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly,
Knuckles.
they never fixed it. On a side note, the R-Wing controls for barrel rolling and somersaulting are now mapped to the right analog stick, and personally, I like that. Occasionally I do a U-turn by mistake, however this doesn't happen often enough to be too problematic. At least for me anyway. I know there's some people who have major problems with this.
Tell me about it. It really grinds my gears.
Put me down. In terms of content, Star Fox Zero offers 12 main levels and 8 shorter bonus levels. And this is where the disappointment starts to appear. All the main planets in Star Fox Zero are essentially retreads from Star Fox 64. The only new one is Area 3, and that's basically just a massive ring, which isn't very exciting.
I guess the only other new level is Fortuna, but that's actually a throwback to the very first Star Fox. Granted, back then it was just a bunch of cubes, so it's nice to have it reimagined properly. It looks kind of Panzer Dragoon-y. The other newish levels are all based in space, which makes them as visually interesting as a canned corn factory.
Once cleaned, the cobs fall into this chute en route to the next processing step. Here they're lined up, ready to be handled by the kernel remover.
Actually, it's actually kind of hypnotic. I mean, if you just put some Quatsi music on it, it's...
Must eat corn. Must eat corn. While some of the levels are direct throwbacks to Star Fox 64, like the one with the rockets, many of them are reimagined. This allows the game to still offer some surprises, a bit like Kinder Surprise. You don't know what you're gonna get. However, with only 12 levels, the game is actually shorter than Star Fox 64 by 3.
Venom isn't even a proper world in this game.
Of course not. He's a villain from Spider-Man.
No, it's a planet in Star Fox.
What?
And yes, it is a villain from Spider-Man. But anyway, Venom's tiny. Also, Zero's bonus levels they're too short to leave a lasting impression. In fact, 2 of them involve protecting the Great Fox from asteroids, and they are almost carbon copies of each other. I think just one ends with a boss fight against a giant metal bird. The game's desire to be a homage to Star Fox 64 ultimately leads to the story being fairly unexciting. I like the world of Star Fox, and I like the story of Star Fox 64. You know, with the Lylat Wars, and there's Andross, and James McCloud, Starwolf, Bill and Cat. But to do it all again and be so faithful, it just means there's no surprises. Like, oh look, there's the ghost of James McCloud again.
And there's Cat from Gravity Rush. Wait,
There are some changes that I like. I like the fact that Andros has been redesigned as a giant metallic monkey face, which is like a nice nod to the polygon face in the SNES original and the monkey head in the N64 game. I mean, in Star Fox 64, he was literally a giant monkey head with a massive brain, which doesn't really make much sense. I mean, why is he a giant floating head? By making him metal, well, that kind of like clears up those sort of plot holes.
Star Fox was one of the few Nintendo properties that actually had a progressing story. Adventures built on 64, Assault built on Adventures by bringing over Crystal,
and Tricky,
and Command built on Assault. It was really cool to see the Star Fox team grow and change over time. A bit like watching mushrooms bloom in the woodlands.
That one's got a face. I mean, the story in Assault is actually pretty good. Like, you know, Adventures killed off Andros, so it's like, that's it. Andros is gone, so we get the new villains called the Aparoids, who are like a real threat. Like, they mess up Corneria. There's a point where we think Peppy's dead. Pigma dies. Like, there's real stakes involved, you know? Like, the stakes were high. I also enjoyed the story of Command. Like, in this one, Fox and Crystal have a breakup, and she joins Starwolf. The whole plot involves Fox trying to get the team back together to take down a fish guy. I mean, maybe some people thought the story was too goofy or too self-serious, but I appreciated it. Kept me going. I wanted to see what happens.
Now, Star Fox Command did take the series into a different direction, with revamped gameplay, loads of new characters, and multiple endings. So, perhaps the series needed a soft reboot to get things back to the basics.
I stand by that Star Fox should have taken the same approach as the Star Trek reboot from 2009. If you've seen that film, you'll know it featured time travel, which allowed the filmmakers to reboot the series while acknowledging the established continuity. This would have been a great approach to Star Fox because a portion of the fan base actually liked the later games, like me. But then again, I am a massive Star Fox fanboy.
Star Fox Zero's insistence to repeat many of the elements from Star Fox 64 makes the game feel unambitious. This lack of ambition ultimately makes the game feel a bit tired. However, maybe the series needed to play it safe in order to remind people why they love Star Fox in the first place. Although, maybe it was too safe.
Sometimes you gotta take those risks! It also would have been nice if the game had featured a multiplayer component. You know, either 8-player online play or even a proper co-op mode. I mean, yes, I know the game says it has co-op, but it's not proper co-op. I mean, like, one player playing Fox and the other playing Falco, but no! We get nothing!
How cool would that be?
Nothing!
How cool would it have been us two playing together as Fox and Falco, flying around taking down forces and sneaking onto ships?
Yeah, 2-player co-op, just the two of us, having a load of fun.
Yeah, just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
What about co-op for 4? Or even 3?
Oh, I thought you went to see your mom.
I already told you, I canceled it.
5 years on, Star Fox Zero remains a fun but unambitious entry in the series. If you can overcome the Control's steep learning curve, I do think you'll find some of the most satisfying and rewarding gameplay in the series' history. While most of the core levels are fun to play, I do find the game's insistence on being tied to Star Fox 64 disappointing.
Had Nintendo decided to take more risks with the level design and the story, I think we would have had a game that felt more fresh and exciting. As it is, Zero is a fun homage, but it doesn't leave much of a lasting impression. That hasn't stopped me playing it repeatedly though, because every year I boot it up and play one of the paths in the arcade mode. You know why? Because I'm a friggin' massive Star Fox fanboy. Anyway, normally we would end this video asking where the Star Fox series can go from here, but to be honest, I can't be bothered this time. I think the series is dead. The game didn't sell very well, and even when Fox appeared in Ubisoft's Starlink, well, that didn't sell very well too.
If Nintendo have another struggling console, then they might produce a new game to appease the hardcore fans. But I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. As we know, the Switch is doing very well.
Anyway, yes, I'm glad we got a new Star Fox, and if this does prove to be the last installment, at least we got Star Fox in glorious HD.
But where's F-Zero, huh?
Yeah, where's our F-Zero HD? Huh, Nintendo? Huh?
We should march to the doors of Nintendo and demand an F-Zero for the Switch.
F-Zero HD.
That's what we're going to call it? Just
F-Zero
HD?
HX.
No, I think it should be called F-Zero Switch It Up.